Hey guys, we have bullish news for NIO stock. I'm gonna break down what's going on with NIO stock, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about the overall market, how it's looking right now, and how this is affecting NIO, what you should be watching for as you proceed moving forward. Before breaking down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the QQQ, let me just mention a couple of things. NIO is up 2.3% as of right now. The reason why NIO is holding up is because NIO is once again making some nice headlines about their new battery pack, which they're gonna be releasing very soon, and they're gonna be, releasing it for like rental and things like that. So that's very good for them, but the question is, how will NIO move going into the future? How is NIO going to perform compared to what's about to happen to the markets? Now I'm gonna talk more about the markets tomorrow in my video when I talk about the big catalyst coming out for next week. But for now, I just want to mention that for earnings that came out, okay, the reason why the market has been holding up in a way, at least for the last few months, is because earnings were not really that bad. The majority of earnings were very good during the last cycle. If you look at like Tesla and Microsoft and even Google and etc., they had decent earnings. Nothing really was that bad consistently. We didn't really get a consistent earnings recession like many people were looking out for. Now could it happen in the future? That's a real possibility. But so far, even like right now, we're not really getting it just yet. I mean, Tesla, when you look at Tesla's earnings, they did relatively well in terms of the current numbers. But their guidance and their margins were just a little bit off, but they beat on EPS and revenue. Now guidance was a little weak for Q3, which tells me that there could be a weakness in Tesla's earnings gonna into then. But we're gonna have to wait and see on big tech, and that's going to be coming out for next week. Now NIO has earnings a little bit later on, I think next month. So we have a while until that's gonna come out. I want to warn you guys that earnings might not be that strong in terms of the like actual numbers, because NIO did not get the best number of sales for Q2. But going into Q3, okay, what's good about NIO is the guidance is going to be very strong. So if you look at Tesla, Tesla had decent earnings, but weak guidance, and that caused Tesla to crash. But NIO has the potential to do the opposite. The earnings that come out for Q2 may not be that strong because of the fact that their deliveries were a little bit down for Q2, but their guidance is the opposite of Tesla. They may have very strong guidance for Q3 and beyond based off what we're discussed and based off what the news is suggesting. So that tells me that going into earnings into August, there's a good chance NIO may start to discuss the short squeeze or some very, very bullish price action. On top of that, you have to remember, we have deliveries coming out in just about like 11 days from now. That's very, very quick time flies, guys. It really moves quickly, so we're getting closer to NIO's next major deliveries report, and that's going to cause, in my opinion, a very huge move. If NIO kills it with deliveries, this thing has the potential to squeeze to some crazy good numbers. It's going to start pushing above 11 into the 12s and 13s. That becomes possible. What's good about NIO is that it's incentivizing a lot more demand. And the EV startup is soon going to be offering the world's longest range solid-state battery on a single charge. But this depends on the car and other factors. The weight of it for NIO, it's about 900 kilometers. Last time I checked it was 960 kilometers, and it can go just under 600 miles. Like here in the US we use miles. So under like around 577 miles last time I checked it, is how much it would go for the ES6. Once again, very, very bullish news for the company as a whole. They're gearing up to launch its much anticipated solid-state battery, and this is going to be a game changer for them. Going forward as years pass by, they're starting to position themselves in a way that's going to put them ahead of their competition. I believe what's going to happen in the future is when Abu Dhabi and all of these companies start investing into NIO, getting these major stakes when NIO was at these like really, really low values. They used that as an opportunity to buy the dip because this was a very good opportunity for them. They also know that the ET7 and all their luxurious cars have very nice ranges and so much potential battery swapping, and they believe in the potential it has. Now, in my opinion, this article is talking about how, right here, The EV with the longest driving range sold globally has about. This is California's Lucid Motors, their sedan. So the Lucid Air basically, it's actually a very nice car. It has a range of 516 miles, and NIO is about to beat that. So NIO is about to do something super bullish. Imagine how many buyers are going to step in when they find out how crazy this range is going to be, plus it could incorporate battery swapping and charging. So that's some very bullish news for the longer term. Now for the short term, if you look at NIO, it's going to see some volatility depending on big tech earnings next week. I will talk more about that tomorrow. But then for the month of August, if deliveries are strong and they beat the records, because Morgan Stanley had an estimate that NIO is going to do like 13,000 deliveries, or so. If they do that, that's bullish. And then if earnings come out, maybe earnings won't be that strong because of the lack of deliveries for Q2. Like I said before, guidance is going to be strong for them. That's going to be very bullish for them as well. The price pairs ratio is going to be a little bit low right here, right? It is dropping just a little bit because NIO is slowing down just a little bit, which is completely healthy and normal. But don't forget, I would say in 2 weeks, that's when NIO could really go crazy and start pumping a lot more. Next week may be a little bit slow because of all the events coming out. And then looking at the short interest, there's not really a whole lot going on. Only 6.5 million shares shorted. We also saw less volume, so NIO was slowing down, getting very tight. But when this happens with less volume, we tend to be getting set for a bigger move in the future. So what to discuss for NIO? Just as a reminder, we may not get the best week next week because of all these events like FOMO and etc. But I'm still very optimistic for how it's moving. As for STPUI, we're going to be discuss this 200 EMA. If it breaks below this, we'll be discuss 450 as our support and 448 in these other levels. It is looking a little weak because of Apple slowing down. If you look at Apple, it actually broke below its support at 192.5. The market's weakening in just a bit. We're going to find out if it continues to weaken or if we get to a big bounce, because we have big tech earnings very soon. Once again, I will talk about those in just a couple of minutes. Same thing for Tesla. It got a nice bounce, a very beautiful bounce off $2.55 if you look at it. It went from $2.55 all the way up to $2.65, actually almost. This is like almost $2.70. It came very close to $2.70 before getting a nice pullback after that. Tesla is showing some improvements. That's a good sign for it. But overall, it's important that we note these other things. Finally, last but not least, I want to remind you guys about the QQQ. I have it right here. A 373 area that's worth noting. Tech is going to determine how this thing moves, so I will talk more about this later on, but for now, just know NIO, no matter what happens next week, has a lot of potential for the month of August, when we have deliveries and earnings coming out, not to mention more news about their new solid-state battery. So that said, that's a very bullish catalyst for NIO, the solid-state battery. I'm very excited for the longer term, and this could help drive in more sales to help them improve their earnings. Until we speak again tomorrow, thanks for watching our video on NIO stock. If you enjoyed this content and want to stay updated on the latest investment opportunities, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Remember, investing involves risks, so do your own research before making any financial decisions. Stay tuned for more exciting content and happy investing.